listeners. This is episode number 267 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is April 29th, 2026, and my guest is Scott in Indiana. Reminder, tomorrow, April 30th, is the last day to sign up for my Happy Mail Club if you want to receive the May mailing. To find my club, just Google Suzanne's Happy Mail Club and you'll see the YouTube video right at the top, the AI overview with the links, and the link to it on my Teachable School. I'm getting all my ducks in a row for the first mailing. This is going to be something different and fun. Okay, now on to the conversation with Scott.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. My guest today is Scott. And tell us where you're located.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay. Lots of are they Indianians, or what do you call them?
I'm originally from Michigan, so I'll call myself a Michigander, I guess you'd
say.
Okay.
So what do the Indiana people call themselves?
Hoosiers, maybe? I don't know.
Just a Hoosier. Okay. Yeah. So they don't even use the name of the state. Okay.
But I'm a Michigan fan, so.
Okay. That's good. All right. So now we know where you are, and tell us your backstory about how you got involved in eBay.
Yeah, so I've always had eBay. I think I remember selling some stuff back in 2005. I was big into sports cards, and I ended up getting like a rare triple flag Jeff Gordon card that I was like, well, I'm not going to keep this thing. So I ended up selling it for like $500 at the time. And then I kind of just went away from it, just bought stuff on it. But about 2024, I have a pickup truck that needed some work, and my son was going to start driving this year. And I said, man, we just need to start saving up some money. And he's like, well, I don't know. Maybe you could start up your other business, which I used to make bottle openers and sell them on Etsy. They were wooden. And I was like, it's just a lot of work. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
You can't really scale that when you're making a 1x1.
Right. So I said, why don't we start selling on eBay? And I had a bunch of stuff that I had collected over the years, concert t-shirts and so forth, that I was like, I'll hold on to these. One day they'll be worth more, And I said, well, I'll just start with that. Started listing that and some old clothes, vintage clothes. And then I got back into going to the thrift stores. Mm-hmm. And Salvation Army is kind of my go-to around here because the Goodwills are normally, like you say on your podcast, are really high priced. I mean, it's not even worth going and get it. You could go to Walmart and get it cheaper.
Keep escalating all the time.
But lately, Salvation Army's kind of been the same thing for me. I feel like they're pulling it before it hits the shelf and going online and auctioning it. I feel somewhere, because we have, gosh, I want to say 4 or 5 Salvation Armies here in town that I could hit, but I was like, man, I need to find a different route. So then it became estate sales. And man, got the bug of that. And it's like, you can find some good stuff there.
Game changer, right?
Oh, yeah. Gosh. And then it was due to COVID, all the high bid online auction estate sales. Right. So I started getting into that. And last year, I think I went way too crazy. I think I spent like $26,000. Yes, but a lot of cool things. eBay registered that I did like 24,000 last year, but a lot of side sales too that I may not claim for cash. But yeah,
Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that.
Yep, Facebook Marketplace, and then I've got certain customers that are just repeat. They'll buy certain things, whether it be nickel plate railroad stuff or military stuff. So I do love those repeat buyers that pay cash because it makes it a lot easier, and you're going to sell it. So the other stuff I just list on eBay. Did pretty good. My first year, I think eBay reported I did like 16, and then really dove into it. Like I said last year, So started vintage and rustic collectibles in February of 2024, and that was the main one. We have about 500 things listed on there right now. I try to stay organized in my garage. Try to keep it out of the house as much as possible because, like you said, it just kind of creeps in, and it just gets to be too much. I have a couple racks, probably let's see, one, two, three, four metal racks in my garage, and I normally try to list it, package it, label it, and then put the SKU on the mobile app so that I know where it is. And then on the
Mhm.
box, I'll write what it is briefly, the measurements of the box, the weight, and then where it's located. So that's worked out pretty well, especially when you get up past 100, it just gets chaotic. I found out real quick I was missing stuff, I was misshipping things. So
Oh
then
no, yeah,
you're
everybody
like,
goes through
oh,
that. And it's
yes,
almost like you have to go through that, that forces you into some type of system.
yes,
Once you make a few of those mistakes of shipping the wrong thing or not being able to find it, you're like, okay, the buck stops here.
right.
I gotta create a better system because this cannot continue.
Yes, yes. And so this year I do like a lot of military stuff. So both my grandpas were in World War II, Korean War. So that's kind of where I got the drive for it. They didn't really talk about it, which a lot of veterans kind of don't. So it kind
Mhm.
of got my curiosity going. So my son also collects World War II stuff and military things. So we were like, well, why don't you do that as your business? Because he's 15 now. And I was like, you're going to need some serious money to drive that truck because it's going to cost you like $250 to fill up the tank here pretty soon.
Oh, right. No, wait, so he's how old?
15.
Okay, so he's not driving on his own yet, but that's
Nope.
coming.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I was like, it's either you go get a job, or you could do what you like and sell on eBay, or sell the collectibles. He'd rather
Right.
keep them than sell them.
Mhm.
So his room's like a museum. So it's quite interesting. I was like, well, the World War II stuff is never going to go down in value because it's going to be harder and harder to get. This year, early March, started Foxhole Supply, is what I called it. And I just listed some stuff. I have some stuff that I've collected over the years where I don't really want to get rid of it, but here's my let it go price.
Right.
And
Mhm.
some of those let it go prices actually went, and I was like, hmm, okay, maybe I'm a little too low on it, but it's a good start for him. He still hasn't got the drive for it yet, so I'll just wait and see what happens. So now I'm kind of running two stores. I will say that the new listing way, and I don't know if you've experienced it with the app, if you start up a new shop, it's like all AI. So you take
Okay.
the pictures, it drums it all up for you. It tells you suggested price, weight, everything, and the title. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy compared to, taking all the pictures, creating your own title. So you just have to read it and finagle it. But
So
yeah,
wait, are you still taking your own pictures?
yeah. So you'll open it up and say you want to sell something. And then it'll say, take the pictures, and it'll tell you, okay, take a picture of the back. Customers
Oh,
want to see
right.
it up
Yeah, the
close.
little that's on the desktop too for some items where it tells you, like if you're selling a pair of shoes,
Hmm.
front, top, bottom, size label, like it prompts you to put in everything to make it complete.
Yeah. Well, this one you just take the pictures and it automatically pulls everything up.
It just puts it there.
It puts it there. Yeah, it's super interesting. The only frustrating part is I don't have because it's not a shop because I just did the startup
Hmm.
and it doesn't allow you to put the SKU in. So
Oh.
the location, I was like, well, some of it's hanging on the wall, so I guess that's
Can
okay.
you go back to maybe on the desktop and add a column to your active listings for SKU
Oh, I
or
could try that. Yeah.
custom label? Well, when I revise something and change the picture or jiggle the price or whatever, there's not a custom SKU field on the listing unless you put it there when you created it. But you can go back to your active listings and customize and add a column. And if it doesn't have a SKU, there's a little, the pencil where you can click that icon and
Edit.
you can add one. later.
Okay.
And so that's what I do when I revise something is I put that information in the custom label field so I'll know the last time I touched it. And
Okay.
maybe every 6 months I'll jiggle things around a little bit because eBay says don't end things and restart them. You want
Yeah.
to leave it there. Too many URLs confuse all the search engines, and it's better to just revise a little bit here and there to give it a boost in search.
Hmm.
So anyway, I do not list from the app. I just am a computer person. So I don't know all the nuances of what the app doesn't have that the desktop has. So I know for some people, the app is just easier, it's faster, it's more convenient. But I started back before the app existed.
Right.
Sometimes I am not an early adopter of technology. I just keep doing it the way I like it. But yes, that custom label field is very important for many different things. So if you don't see it, try checking your like on a desktop or a laptop and
Right.
see if you can add that field and then put in what you want.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I'll have to check it out after to see. But yeah, it's crazy because it was super quick to list 50 items. And
Oh,
I was
wow.
just like,
Yeah. Well, and I
man,
reached out to you because you had been posting some really high dollar sales and you kind of popped up and I'm like, who is this Scott guy?
yeah,
And I always go and look at like how long have you been in the group? And you've been in there 2 years.
yeah,
But it seems
yeah.
like
You've plugged
last
me before, and I'm like,
maybe
I
like
don't
the
know.
last 3 months I've been seeing you, which I love to see new people come. That's more information for everybody. But it was like, what does this guy do with all this super high dollar stuff? Do you want to
Right.
go over some things that you have sold?
Yeah. Let me see if so we can at least we can talk about it. I guess.
Okay, so what Scott has done, he's ultra prepared. He has some images of his sales. So we're going to talk about those. Knowing this is the podcast and you guys can't see this, we will do our best to describe everything.
So this is my largest sale. It was about $1,025, and I had bought John Williams, the conductor's autograph, and a lot of autographs at on high bid,
Okay.
and it was I think $90 for three bagfuls.
Oh, wow.
I have a ton still, and it was a I saw this and I was like, gosh, that seems like it's his signature. So I was searching online, making sure, and I was like, gosh, that is. So I bought this bag. I think I paid $29 for it, and I was so ecstatic. So I was like, well, I'm going to send it off to Beckett. I'm going to get it certified. So I think that cost me $50 to get that
Mhm.
done. I got it back and then I listed it. And I was like, you know what? I think I might get a little creative with it and just try to make like a shadow box with it. So me and the kids went to Hobby Lobby. We were looking around. The background is a curtain from Star Wars. So I cut that to fit in one of the shadow boxes that I got there, and then I had silicone glued the actual signature in there. So if they wanted to remove it, it wouldn't harm it at all. And
So
then
it,
that's
it looks
actually
like it looks like a business card size
it's a
paper.
yep, it's an index card, so 3 by 5.
Okay, and
Um,
it's
the
encapsulated, it looks like.
Yep, yeah. So that's what they do when you send it off to Beckett. They
Oh, you got
verify.
it back like that. Okay.
Yep, they verify that it is actually authentic, and I think those autographs were going for I want to say $800, but there were so many of them listed just plain. I wanted to jazz it up a little bit. So
Mhm.
the top of it is actually a light that you can actually plug in or charge. And I think I had it listed maybe for a month or two and someone bought it. The worst part was shipping it because it was so large
So
a
you
touch
made
phone.
it into a way to display it. It's not
Yes.
just the autograph card.
Yep.
And so how much your cost was $50 plus the supplies to make this display case?
Yeah, I would say maybe at most $150
And it
to do it.
sold for $1,025.
Hmm.
And how did you even come up with the price?
I just shot for the sky. I think I listed it for 1200,
Mm-hmm.
And then someone sent me that offer, and I said, okay,
That's worth it.
yeah.
Okay.
This was an interesting one. I was at an estate sale, and I was just digging in the kitchen cabinets, and of all places to find a razor.
Ah, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I found this and I'd done well with Gillette. And I was like, okay, if they charge me $1 or two, I'll be okay. Well, then I go to the garage and I'm looking it up because the house was packed with people. And I started looking it up and I started seeing all these sales and they're over like 700, 600. The handle sold for 400. And I was like, what? Like, you've got to be kidding me. So it's Sheffield, England, stamped in the actual handle. And I guess they're super rare. I had to do some research. I think it was an X7. Everybody reaches out to you right as soon as you list it. There was, I think, 10 watchers within the first couple hours on it. And then I think I had it for, I think, $1,200, just throwing it out there. And then
Mhm.
someone sent me an offer. Well, I received a lot of offers, a lot of low balls. And then someone said they'd buy it for 910. And I said, yeah, I'm more than willing to. So
So it's the title is Darwin Safety Razor, Sheffield, England, Rare Find. Was it sterling?
I don't think they didn't list it on there at all. It's just those razors are hard to find, I guess.
Do we know how old it is?
I want to say the early 1900s.
Okay, so
Yeah,
antique, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a neat little find. I think I paid $2 for it
And where'd you find that again?
at an estate sale.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Gee.
just in a kitchen cabinet and so it pays to like look in things. That's one of my biggest things. I'll go to an estate sale, and I've heard it before on your podcast. Look where people aren't looking.
Right.
And that's definitely been a savior for me. I found a
Well, that's
lot of
weird that it would be in the kitchen cabinet. Like, did somebody pick it up and
this
they
was
put
a
it
hoarder
down?
house. It was
Oh, it was a
it was
hoarder
bad.
house. So
Yeah.
everything was everywhere.
Oh gosh, it was so bad. I was like, I just need to get out and get a breath of fresh air. And I think that's part of it too. They're just like, we don't care. Let's get rid of it.
Hmm.
I've dabbled in a little bit of everything. So this one was kind of a break. And I think you've had some people talk about it before where you can get in on purchasing some team names online and then they'll open up all the packages. And I think I paid $39 for the Steelers at that time. And I ended up getting this Terry Bradshaw Kaboom card. Sold it for $549.
Oh, yeah.
A quick sale. And the interesting part was I put it in that case, which you can get
Hmm.
off Temu just to kind of keep it safe. But
Right.
they'll send it off to PSA afterwards, and I don't know if it's an option that they have when they buy it, and they'll grade it and send it to the customer to make sure it's
Okay.
authentic. And I was like, well, that's neat. If it's free, that might be worth it.
Do you know how old this card is? Oh, it says
2024.
2024.
Yep.
So they're still making Terry Bradshaw stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Every year. Every year. Like all the old players, Joe Montana, I feel like they just don't have enough big time players right now, I guess, to make money on. So
So
they got
the
to fill
old
the
is new
packages of
again.
cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
nothing about sports cards. I just
My
thought
son was big into it.
when they were done playing, that was it. They weren't on the cards anymore. But
No,
no.
they'll still use coaches and everything. And I think it's just to fill the packs because
Okay.
they try to sell so many. I think a case of those cards was like $549
Okay.
for like 8 packs or something like that. It was pretty ridiculous. So it was way cheaper to get it on break.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good.
This was super interesting. So since my son collects military stuff, displays it in his room. I
Okay.
for Christmas, it's super easy to shop for him and his birthday because I'll just go find some military stuff and then wrap it up and give it to him. So this was before I used chat and any AI stuff. Just couldn't find this at all. And I ended up going to a state. Well, I bought on high bid. This guy had a mass collection of end of day, I call it, or end of the world type stuff where it's communication devices. And I just cleaned out most of it, filled up my vehicle. I put it in the garage. I gave him his stuff, but then I just kind of let it set to the side. Well, then I started using chat and I started scanning some of the stuff, and it let me know that this was part of the Nike. Ajax missile system for the Cold War, and it was like a test launch. And I was like, how did this guy have this thing? I want to say I spent maybe $400 total at that estate sale and filled up my car with all this stuff. And I sold this by itself for $400. Just a really interesting find. So then that's why, I kind of later went to the Foxhole Supply because most of my large sales are military
So the
related.
title says Nike Ajax missile system, a bunch of numbers, remote control unit, Western Electric Cold War, and it just looks like a
So it's
stereo
actually a
component.
crank. So you'll actually crank it up to
Okay.
charge it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just looks like the old
And
stereo
yeah.
components, it's just a
Yeah.
big black
Well,
box with
that's
a
what I
bunch of
thought it
dials.
was the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's just, it's $100 piece. And I was going to list it for that. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I did because I couldn't find it where it was laid out this way. And I was
Okay.
like, wow.
Okay, what year were you born?
82.
Oh, you're young. Okay. Okay. So that's still Gen X, isn't it? I think it is. Anyway, just for perspective of what you know and remember, because when I said stereo component, oh wait, does he know what that is? But yeah,
Well,
you would have been a teenager in the mid 90s. So
yeah. And my parents were big into antiques. They had booths. So I would always go to
okay.
auctions. I collected a lot of things, just like my son is doing, but I feel like it multiplies as you
Right.
continue on. He's got way too much of everything. And I'm like, you need to get rid of some of it because you can't even walk in your room.
Okay, this next one that you're showing, I think I put that on my business page because I had no idea what it was.
Yeah,
So go
so
ahead.
so it's a Hayner's 1897 combination whiskey lock. And this one actually came with the instructions and the actual code to open it, which was super neat. I think I paid up for this, and I think I spent like $60 at an estate sale on high bid. Picked it up, but it still has its original container. It was really in bad shape, but for being that old, it wasn't working. And I was like, oh, it would really sell big if I could get it to work. So I just took some PB Blaster and sprayed it into a lid, and then I just soaked it. And I soaked it for a couple weeks. And then when I came out and I put it on a towel, let it dry out. Well, the downside is the cork went bad on it because it was so old. So I had to go get a cork to make it fit. So I got that to work. And then I ended up being able to get the combination to work on it and everything. And it sold fairly quick. I want to say a week or two for $325.
And so what exactly does it do?
So it was back in the day I guess at the bars or the saloons, they would lock the whiskey because people would steal it and pour themselves drinks. So this only works on the Hayner's whiskey jar or glasses, which they're still out there. I was going to buy one, but I was like, it's not worth it.
So they lock the bottle so you can't open it, or they lock the
You
bottle
can't get
to
anything out of
something?
it. Yeah. It corks down in and then it spreads out. So
So if they just stole the whole bottle,
and broke it. I mean,
they would have to break it to get the whiskey out.
but you got to consider those are old bottles and they're super.
Well, I mean,
big.
back in the day, did this really work? Was it a deterrent?
I doubt it. I mean,
It looks like it's a cork and then it's a little round lock.
yeah,
And
it's super small. It fits in the palm of your hand.
yeah. And then he's also got the original paperwork with it, I guess with the combination on it and how to use it. But I don't know. Every Western I watch, they're in there shooting up the place and everything's breaking. So
What's the point?
did it really work?
Right.
Good try,
Well, it was
folks.
specific to their bottles too,
Yeah,
so
I
it could only
guess
be for
so.
their bottles.
That's why I was like, what is this thing and how does it work? And did it work?
And I ended up buying another one on eBay that they didn't have working, and I still haven't got around to that one yet. But because I have to find the combination on it, so I was like, detective mode. Like, how am I gonna put a stethoscope up to this thing and listen to it? But it's so tiny, it's hard to do.
What that is the most fun part of this business, I think, is you find these things and what is this thing anyway? What does it do? And I guess if you got it off HiBid, you were able to pull up the pictures and drop them into Google Images and figure that out and do all that before you bought it. Was it a local pickup or did you have it shipped?
Yes. Yeah, local pickup, which was super
Okay.
nice. I do like to find, like, I'll use high bid, but there's certain ones that don't use high bid because they don't want to pay into it. And I love those ones because it's super cheap compared
They have
to,
their own auction.
yep,
They don't
their
use,
own,
okay.
yep, they'll do their
Yeah.
own shipping and everything.
Well, and that
Sometimes
makes
they're,
the buyer's premium lower if there is one, because that
yes.
usually covers their fees to put the listing on HiBid. And
Hmm.
some of those fees are 20%.
Oh yeah, it's getting
And
ridiculous.
yeah, it's
It's
people are
still
getting greedy.
somewhat worth it if you could get it cheap, but like if you
Yeah.
didn't know and you started buying, so I have to tell some of my friends that are getting into it, I'm like, just make sure you're paying attention to, are they shipping it themselves or are they taking it to a store?
Yes.
Are they doing an upcharge for it? What's the taxes there that they claim? And what's the buyer's premium on that? Because some of them are just, I think I've seen over 20, California, Florida area. And I'm
Right.
just like, just because it's sunnier, you're charging more.
Well, and when I started doing the online auctions a couple years ago, it was overwhelming to keep up with all this information. And so I made a spreadsheet with the name of the auction company, where they're located, buyer premium, taxes, do they ship in-house or outsource it? Because if it's outsourced, that's an automatic no. I'm not doing
So,
that. Could I pick it up? Is it close enough? I have all this information. And so when I go looking for items to buy, I know which companies to look at.
hmm.
Yeah, you can just put in keywords for things or find ones close to you, but I've gotten things from the West Coast very reasonable because maybe they didn't even have a buyer's premium. It's, we don't charge that, and everything is shipped in house, and we ship the most economical way. And they would rapidly breakables in any soft goods. Like they didn't use packing material. They just kind of did it smart. So you're right. You really have to factor all that in. The first few times I did it, I was like, oh, I spent way too much
Yeah.
because I didn't know about all that stuff that was added on. So
Yeah, and
anyway.
some of the rare things, it's difficult for me to pass up on, especially
Mhm.
military rare stuff that I see online that I'm never going to see again. So it's like you just have to bite the bullet sometimes. But I remember, I think I had a Japanese World War II flag that was signed by a
Oh.
U.S. soldier.
Mhm.
It was a bring back, and I think to ship it to me, and they put it in just an envelope, was
Oh.
like $13 or something like that. And I was
Wow.
like, and then they charged an extra 20 on that, and then all their packaging extras, and I was just like, what is going on here? So,
So this
so
next item, yeah, it looks like something they'd wear on Lost in Space.
so this was at one of the local estate sales, Northern Indiana. I was going through the garage. I love going to the garage first because I think everybody avoids it. It was so cluttered, cold, and I'm just going through stuff, and these were covered in mud. And I was like, those look kind of cool, like some real biker boots, that I've never seen before. So they're Alpine Stars, High Point motocross racing boots. And they have like steel toe on the front of it that wraps around to the bottom. The shin guards are metal as well. So I had to do a lot of cleaning up. Went to my local Meijer and got some shoe polish because it was really bad. I think I paid $5 for them, and with all the work into it, it took me a couple days. But sold them for $269 just as a buy it now price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
because I
have to
was
put
like,
on your eBay glasses when you see some of these things. Like, what's the potential here? What could this
mm-hmm.
look like? And this is a nice looking pair of leather boots. They're black with the silver shin guards. That's the Lost in Space part, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, $5 into 269, and you said they sold pretty fast.
Yeah, within a week or two, I feel like they sold, and
Mhm.
it wasn't, I think, the season because it was cold. out. It's not like you were, and I guess unless they use them indoors. I didn't know where they used them. I just knew they sold from
Mhm.
looking at the comps. So this steering wheel was crazy. I
Okay.
bought it for $1.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's beautiful.
yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh, that reminds me of like the two-tone Cutlass car,
yep.
you know.
It was just universal. You could pop that center part out and it would just have a different logo on it
Uh-huh.
because it came with a couple other ones. So I bought this and then I also bought a steering column and this one was in better shape. I think I paid $13 for the entire steering column with the steering wheel
So the item
instead
is
of
1977 through 79 Ford Thunderbird steering wheel. And
with the cruise control.
it's just brown with the middle part is that, what do you call that material or
Faux wood.
that look like fake? Yeah, definitely fake wood.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Um,
just like something I would imagine my parents would have been, have as their steering wheel in their car, like an old
yep.
Cutlass or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a good flip, a
Yeah.
dollar to 224. So sold fairly quick. The guy commented that the color wasn't what he thought it was, but he'll accept it anyways. And I said,
It's like
okay.
a caramel brown color.
Hmm. He said
Yeah.
it didn't match his interior. And I was like,
Well, his interior was wrong. That's the problem.
he said he'll figure it out. I said, okay.
You have
I'll offer you
such
some money on it.
diverse items.
Yes, that's why I'm trying to streamline a little bit more because I've been burned quite a bit on other things. So I think I'm going to gear more towards the military stuff from now on, buying
Okay,
and reselling
so
because at least I like it.
tell us about one of your fails where you're like, I'm not doing that again.
Oh gosh, there's been so
Just try to
many.
pick one.
um, Gosh, what was one of the recent? I was big on the train memorabilia stuff, so ephemera, and I did really well with the first lot I bought, and it was early 1900s reports, but it had the map in the back of it of the actual train routes. I said, well, I did so well with those ones. I think I paid 90. I've made my money. I don't know, thousands of dollars I've made on it. And I said, well, I'll try this train lot. So I ended up paying up on it because I knew how much I, made on the other ones. It was a huge flop. There were timetables and old manuals, but when I got them, they had a musty smell. They were really bad. So I was trying to air them out. I ended up just pitching them because it just was not worth the time. So I lost out. It was probably about $150 on that one, but at least I had the other one where I made up for it. But yeah, there's a ton of things where you kind of got to find what you like to collect and are you willing to keep it type thing. And a lot of the times I'll just go through my garage and I'll be like, well, I haven't listed this. I know it's not worth over $10. And I know the small sell, but it's just not worth my time to go through all that. And so I'll just donate it to Salvation Army and so forth.
Yeah, I bought some ephemera online and received it, and it just disintegrated. I don't
Mm.
know how it made it to me without disintegrating. So I kind of it's like, oh, you better get it really cheap
Yeah.
or do it at estate sales so that you can examine it first.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes these online auction companies, they don't take a whole lot of pictures, or the lighting is bad, and really they have so much to list that you got to give them
Yeah.
a pass on that. But it's a buyer beware, because if you get it and it just falls apart in your hand, it's so sad, because this could have been a great item. Somebody would have loved this, but it was too old or had water damage and it just fell apart.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's difficult. And I'll say, it's a hit and miss. It's like playing the lotto in a way. Like this, for example, it was in a box. I just seen a glimpse of it. And I said, well, some stuff in there has to be worth at least $20. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'll just buy lots in hopes to find something in the bottom of that they only took a picture of the box and said,
Right. Like what fell
kitchen
to the
cabinet.
bottom that they don't even know is in there.
Right. So this was in a box that I think it was like 20 or $30 of other stuff, but it had railroad memorabilia in it and that stuff sold. So I made my money on it. And this was just sitting in with I have a little jewelry pot out there, tie clips and so forth in my garage, and I just kind of toss stuff in. Well, I scanned this with chat, and it reported that for me, and it said there should be a gold marking on the back of it. Well, it was so dirty. And so I cleaned it up and looked at the back, and I said, sure enough, it says 10K on the back of it. So I
Oh,
had listed it for, I think, 300, something ridiculous, just to see what could get. And it stayed on there for quite a bit. And someone finally, I want to say I probably had it for 3 to 4 months listed online. Someone finally offered me a reasonable price, the 224. And I figured, you know what? Need some money this month, might as well.
right. Yeah. So it is an Oddfellows metal solid 10K gold, and it's a star and dove fraternal jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So oh, the club is called Oddfellows. Is that right?
Yeah, International Order of Oddfellows. I'm
Okay.
not too familiar with it.
Well,
I
I know a
did.
lot of people that could be in that club.
Right. That's I'm just like, okay.
Okay.
Like, yeah, there's the 10K stamp on the
Uh-huh.
back of it.
Okay.
Just
Good.
and it's really small. I mean, it's less than 2 inches.
Right.
Yeah. So
Oh,
just been a little badge that they had on their
well, that's a
shirt.
great find. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pays to diversify.
Well, and to look through the stuff you have, and, because we just don't know what we have until you've seen it. And that's what I do love about it, is because I get to hold it for a little bit
Right.
and, get the history of it. And then it's like, okay, I'm done with it. I don't want to keep it.
Yeah, and that's an experience selling collectibles because so many things pass through our hands, but we're not their final stop.
No,
So we
no,
get to
for
have
sure.
that experience for a little bit of researching it, looking at it, handling it, appreciating it, and then it can go on to its final home. Maybe, who knows, maybe that person's going to sell it.
So this one was pretty neat. I had mass toys when I was growing up. 80,
Mask,
like, yep,
MASK.
MSK, yep. So this was a Boulder Hill. I'd never had this one. I think I was in a bidding war on high bid. It was a local pickup. I want to say I paid $39 for it. After everything was said and done, I want to say it was probably 55-ish. So they messaged me, and I had it listed on Facebook because I really didn't want to ship it. Too big to ship. So I had it on there for, gosh, I want to say 3 months on Facebook. And then I finally just bit the bullet and said, I'm just going to put it on eBay to reach more people. It probably sat on eBay for 2 to 3 months. And then someone reached out to me and they paid full asking price for it. And I started at like 350-ish on it and then just kind of kept bringing it down because you can always go down. You don't want to, you
Right.
can't
You
go
can
up.
always come down. Yep.
But they put a note in here. I've been waiting for this for so many years since it came out back in the day. So I'll need to find Alex and Jackrabbit. So there's little characters that would be in it. And the front panel for the gas sign, I don't see the back gun, pops out, flips down on the wall and ceiling. Also, why did you photograph the flip down wall unit? Is something broken with it? Well, I didn't know how it worked at all. So I was just like guessing through pictures online. It was in fairly rough shape. It'd been played with. You could tell over the years. It was the tower in the back here was
Mhm.
busted. So I didn't put it like in the picture, but I had to use my kitchen table to display it. It's
It
probably
looks like a
30.
volcano. Is it a
Yeah.
volcano? Is it?
Yep. And then that pops off and then the little gun pops up with a little guy in it and he could fight or whatever. And
And
then
it's
it just
called
resets back.
Mask Kenner, the toy company, Boulder
Hmm.
Hill. And it's like, is it plastic?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So it's like a play set and it's a volcano and some of the pieces come out. Interesting. I had never
I
heard
want
of
to say it was like 24 wide and then 36 deep. So I had to
Mhm.
use a furnace filter box to ship it. And we'd messaged back and forth, and he was so ecstatic about it. He got it. He said, wow, you packaged it so well. I'm so impressed with it. I can't wait to display it. So he has a full on display of all these toys, and he's my age. So people
And
collect everything.
this sold for 280. And how much did it cost you?
I want to say about 55 total. with everything said and done
Oh,
with the
and you
buyer's
said you
premium
got
and
it on
everything.
the high bid.
Yep. And
Okay.
it was a pickup. And then another
Killing it.
interesting one that I found at Salvation Army, paid up for it.
Well, that's the thing that separates some sellers is some just are like, I'm not paying more than X for this. And
Hmm.
that's understandable. We all have a budget to work within. And then you get more aggressive and you know its value. So you're like, I'm going to pay up for this. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like anxiety producing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I spent $100 on this, but people post on the group all the time. I paid 100 for this and sold it for 500. So
Hmm.
you got to look at the overall profit, not just your investment price.
Well, and I was like, I'm going to come back later and it's not going to be there. I was going to
Right.
wait for
It'll
the
be
sale.
gone.
They had it at $49. And I said, well, I looked up online and it appears that they sell pretty decently.
Okay, you're
Um,
talking about this Moppet's
yes.
Secret Dollhouse.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's 1980s Moppet's Secret Dollhouse by Knickerbocker. So her dress, and I can't scroll through the pictures, but her dress would come up and the dollhouse is underneath it.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
she has like a Southern Belle type hoop skirt dress, and then
Hmm.
there's
And there's
surprise.
each section. There's a living room, a dining room, a
Okay.
family room, and then a
All
kitchen
right.
on there. And it had all the accessories in it and everything. I don't know how you would play with her in it because it just seemed like she was maybe too big, but it is what it
No,
is.
it looks like she's just the creative packaging for the item, for the little miniature dollhouse underneath.
But they paid full asking price, and they just said, "Hello, I wanted to thank you for being willing to part with us. My mother has always wanted one of these, and you caught me at the perfect time during the high season at work. I'm so grateful. She'll be so excited."
Oh, that's
So yeah,
wonderful.
it was super nice to. I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, I'll get this shipped out right away." But it was
Right.
neat because I got to spend time with my daughter. She helped me put it all together and everything. And I said, well, because she was at the store with me, and I said, I don't know, I think we give it a try. And you can help me. You know, she doesn't have the bug at all. Like she doesn't really collect anything.
How old is your daughter?
She's 12.
Okay. Is it just
Yep.
the two kids?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay. Is it just the three of you in your household?
So divorced 2019-ish. I think it finalized in 2022, and then that whole pandemic thing was chaotic.
Right. On the mother.
Um, but it's shared custody back and forth. So this
So
week she has them for spring break.
you've got two kind of helpers
Yes,
with
my
uh
son definitely enjoys it.
with
Like he,
finding things, identifying cool things.
yeah, he'll
That's
go through
great.
high bid. He has my login, and
Oh,
he'll go
really?
through. He'll go through and like things, and or watch them, and
Okay,
then
like
he'll shoot
bookmark
me a
them.
message. Yep, and
Right.
say, "Did you see this one? The auction ends here," or he'll remind me, and I just say thank you because it's so chaotic with working all the time and on the go. High bid is a little easier than I found than going to the stores. It's just
Yeah, and they do give you enough time to think about it, watch it, be prepared to bid on it. It's not, some of them go for 2 weeks.
yes,
And
or
so you have plenty of
months. Like I've
time.
seen it, and I'm like, gosh, by the time it gets to there, I'll forget that it even existed.
Well, but if you
If you
like
watch
it,
it, yeah.
heart it, whatever, you get reminded. This
It's just
auction
I have
ends
to
tonight.
go
Yeah.
to it, like it's
Yeah.
logging into it. And if you forget to log in, then you know, you don't get
Right.
it.
Yeah. It is, it's a whole world of stuff out there, if you
Oh
will.
yes.
For those people that can't get out and physically find things. And, it's another option that really wasn't there years ago. You
No.
had to get out physically and schlep around and carry stuff. And, if you've got bad feet or bad knees, and like everybody's having a knee replacement these days, and
Yes.
you're recovering from something, or you got grandkids, you don't want to take everybody out. The online auctions really are a good option.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the blessings from the pandemic, because
Yes.
that was where it kind of triggered off like all these estate sales needed to happen with people
Mhm.
passing, and it was just like, what can we do?
Yeah, but then there's those estate sale companies that don't do it. and they like it the old fashioned way. And they put,
Hmm.
I was looking at one the other day that had over 500 pictures. If they have that many pictures, I'm just going to go. I'm not going to
Yes.
sit here and scroll through everything.
I normally start at the bottom because I go for the garage stuff just to see what
Right.
they're hiding or storing. Because you normally would kick it to the garage or whatever. And I'm just like, I'll look through there. And if I glimpse and see something, then it kind of leads you down that path. Mine's the military. So I'm like, oh, okay. So they were in the military. Their parents might have been in the military. So then it's like they might have other stuff there. And
Right.
normally I do pretty good with finding the other stuff. So speaking of the old radios, I've got a bunch of vintage tubes. Yeah, so those I've tried listing all of them, and that's a majority of what I have listed on this new page that I have. I feel like they really were pushing for me to sell to get the, locked in on it when I started up
Right.
this one because we're already at, I mean, eBay records it at just under $900 in sales, but after everything's taken away, it's probably 500 and something. So I paid, I want to say $200 for all the stuff that I got recently and started listing all the stuff on there. I don't think that was the first sale. I think this is very interesting because I was like, hmm. So this sold fairly quick. Old vintage thermal telegraph. It was a converter for military communication equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just looking through who bought it, thinking because they just bought it right away. And it said somewhere in there Israel that they ship stuff to Israel. So I don't know if this is for the war effort or whatever, but it shipped to Maine and then it's shipping out of there to Israel, I'm guessing. But it sold fairly quick, $310, and it's just a piece of old military equipment.
Yeah, it just looks like another one of those stereo
And it
components, just a
worked
box
too. I
with some
plugged it
dials
in.
and buttons on it.
I will tell you though, like a lot of that older stuff, I get really scared. I don't know if I can even show you, but it's not grounded
Oh,
and
to
it's just a two
electrocute you.
prong. Yeah.
So
But
it's
so I
it's
have
like
a
a shocking sale. All right. Ha.
yeah. Well, and I always my son always watches me do the stuff, and I'm out there cleaning it up, and I'll plug it into the power strip, and it's off, and then I'll turn the power strip on because the cord itself where you plug it in is metal, and I was like,
Oh,
who came up with this design?
that just does not seem safe.
Yeah, so it's hard to see it in there. I don't think it's in the picture, but yeah, quite a few sales right away on this one. I only had one sale when I came back off vacation. I will say it was quite interesting. Put both of them on vacation and for a week, and I sold seven things in my other shop, and it had been dry for a week because I hadn't really been listed on there. I've been listed on this one, and I'm like, maybe I'll go on vacation again. I'll tell them.
Well, you came out pretty well there, so just keep posting these sales because they are pretty fascinating. You have such a diverse mix of offerings. So anyway, we're getting to the end here. Do you have any last words to share?
I would just say like start with if you want to try it out, start with the stuff that you have in your house, that you can get rid of. And I think I've gotten two or three of my friends to start that way where they just have stuff and they're just shocked once they sell it and they're like, wow, this doll sold for $60, and I've got a whole suitcase of them. Was one of my best friends' wives that started. And so then he started selling. But just start with what you have, start small, just keep organized, come up with your own way. Everybody always does. I do like packaging it first, labeling it. So when I come home from work, it's not a big task. I can just go grab them from those locations, print the label from my phone, which is another thing. If, once you get up and going, you start getting some sales, get one of those thermal label printers. Makes it super, super
Yes.
nice. Bluetooth, just
Mhm.
and done. But yeah, that would be it. And then
I've had
I
mine
think,
for maybe 5 years now. I was a little late on the bandwagon for that, but yeah, you don't have to buy ink and it just zips that label right out.
super
And
quick.
yeah, I think the labels come out to be about 2 cents a piece because I
Yep.
get a big box of them on Amazon like once a year.
Same thing. Yep.
Yeah,
Got to get
just
your supply order in.
so much easier. And it's quiet. It's not like the old inkjet printers where, it rattles around and makes all this noise.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, well, thanks for making time to come on and talk about your amazing business. I learned a lot talking to you. Hopefully, we'll see some more of your sales on the group.
Yeah, I'll try to post some more on there.
Okay. Well, thanks again. You have a good
Yep.
afternoon.
Thanks, you too.
Next week, my guest is Rachel, who was last on the podcast in December of 2021. So 4.5 years ago. And she is still chugging along. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for the last hour. And don't forget to sign up for my Happy Mail Club. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.